So I've just converted and begun uploading on the auto update video with the CV joint. My back's a little sore. My butt's a little sore. I've been sitting on concrete in a driveway for about 3 hours dorking around with this CV thing and whatever. So I'm still kind of decompressing from that, getting comfortable. It's hard to sit. Just tailbone. It's not even bruised. It's just sore. So in other updates, the situation with the squib has basically been resolved. There have been no updates, no changes, no new things since the bit where I was like, hey, that's not what we do. That's how we do it. No, it's not. Who called the manager? Okay, manager says, Rob's right. The dude says you take the clothes, he goes home, right? The next day, talks to the boss, gives us 2 weeks. That's Wednesday. And then before not showing up to work on Friday, hands recently promoted to management person the store keys and says, here, give these to the boss. She goes, well, what, are you quitting? And he goes, well, I'm sure he'll figure that part out when you hand him the keys. Didn't even talk to any of the actual managers of the store. Just handed off the keys and bye-bye. And apparently something similar happened the previous time that he worked there. The more people I talked to about it, which is not to say that I'm talking about this a bunch or anything like that, right? Mostly it's other people coming up and asking me. And I'll be real serious, real straight up. 2/3 of the people that are coming up and asking me any questions about it are really only doing it to either stir up more drama or spy on me on behalf of the guy, flying monkey style. So it's a really, really simple thing that I had to tell people, which is that nothing had changed since the previous incident. Nothing whatsoever. I had not done anything, had not said anything. He had not done anything, had not said anything. But he got himself so worked up and psyched out about not wanting to be around me that he quit his job. And he tried to make it in a very similar way to the way that I had asked to be taken off the schedule with him. Well, I ain't working no damn Friday nights with him. Well, that's all fine and good, but you're just doing the things that I did about 2-3 weeks delayed. I've already said and done all the things that needed said and done to correct the situation. And then the dude cuts out like that. And then everybody else, all the youngins and everybody that was friends with him, whatever, everybody's all butthurt. Everybody's all like, man, I like that guy. Oh, you gotta go. Yeah, okay, well, guess what? That dude made decisions. That dude made choices. That's all there is to it. I didn't do anything. I didn't make those choices. I didn't make those decisions. But the reality of what happened was I circumvented, preempted, before any chance to on a can get it on paper and prove it for legal purposes or whatever. Because I would honestly much rather stop the bullshit and go on about doing what I'm doing than endure the bullshit, continue to take damage emotionally, traumatically, psychologically, continue to financially take damage to the point where I'll just lose everything anyway. Because some little fucking punk squib was jealous of the money that I make, derangedly irritated at autism spectrum and bipolar traits, and was doing a whole bunch of little petty shit, and it turns out the night that he gave me the closed shift and walked out, which was the last day that he worked, a friend of his who was a high schooler, which is kind of weird, this 20-year-old's running with a high schooler, but hey, whatever. It ain't even his girlfriend, but hey, whatever. Had him on FaceTime while she was still at work after he'd walked out, and she was going around intentionally trying to strike up conversations so that people would talk shit about this guy with him hearing it. Real classy stuff. So now all of the people who are not enlightened, who are not emotionally developed, who are not mature, who are not intelligent, seem to think that it is my fault that that guy is gone. That's their friend. That's their guy. They're being loyal. That guy is an ableist, an anti-autistic bigot. Probably racist, you never know. But, and I had this conversation with my boss today, is be like, I didn't bring up the big H word with this whole thing because I just wanted to get the thing dealt with, took care of, and this is the problem and I want to get away from it. But this was, in fact, a shift leader, technically a manager, engaging in workplace harassment toward a subordinate based on immutable characteristics and personal dislike. That was what I wanted to get out from under. That and the obvious retaliation that would come from getting something like that brought to attention if I was to continue working shifts where that individual was running shifts. There would be retaliation, things that could affect my bottom line, things that could affect my employment. Thankfully, my employer took all necessary steps without hesitation just to get me away from the thing on change the schedule and whatever. And at that point, bro basically just self-destructed himself, psyched out the door. Now, the thing is, if you have a person who you think is doing something and you accuse them or you say, hey, you can't, you just basically call them out and they say, oh no, that's bullshit, you're crazy, you're lying. But then proceeds to lose their shit, crack up, psych out, and leave. Any rational person objectively viewing that scenario would say, well, that guy obviously was doing something wrong or he wouldn't have darted out like that, left in disgrace, embarrassment. And cowardly so. There's nothing cowardly about quitting to the boss's face, even if it's for dumb reasons. But handing somebody else, a shift leader who ain't in charge of nothing, just got promoted, handing them the keys and being like, here you go, give that to the boss. Bitch made. So, as far as that work goes, it's done. It's over with. There's a bunch of salty people that don't understand. Maybe eventually they will figure it out. Now, the other thing with it is that this dude's got some kind of a fucked up, narcissistic, toxic girlfriend that he's on again, off again with, is what everybody keeps saying. I ain't never met her. Was given the understanding that the last time that he worked at this place, and this girlfriend worked there too, and then the day that she quit, he just kind of walked out too. The second time of doing this, and now it's like, nah, he ain't ever coming back. And like I said, there's people that are like, oh, you know, his peers, his friends, his whatever, and it's like, okay, but a couple things to consider. Number one, all that stuff about the harassment, right? That happened. That happened. And number two, if you're defending him, you're defending the bad guy. You're on the side of the bad guy. The bad guy is the one who is harassing me. And it's amazing this all took place around the same time as this deal with the guy on the subway. Where everyone's like, oh, the guy that defended everybody else from the crazy guy making threats is the real villain. No, the crazy guy making threats got subdued. Didn't mean to thing, whatever, right? And everyone's just all like, no, but it should be the other guy's fault. No, it shouldn't. No, it shouldn't. Likewise, it ain't my fault. There is no right by any person to treat someone like that. And there is no requirement nor obligation on my part to take it. People are the problem, guys. The world is full of shit people. Folks that really should never have been born. This is why I'm not like 100% anti-abortion. Because if there was more abortion, some of these fuckers wouldn't be here. The world is full of weeds and abominations. Monsters. Now, another way to view what happened in this situation is that from my angle throughout it, I was just a passenger observing the activities, but the actual notification, getting out of the situation and everything else was nearly automatic. Part of it's because it's a very practiced thing I've had to do several times. And of course, I grew up with a mom who was in human resources, among other things, and was very, very, very well aware of things like state laws when it comes to this kind of stuff, employment laws when it comes to this kind of stuff. And it's very easy to not upset an employer and not drop dreaded words in legalese and just be like, this is the thing that's not okay. But the way of looking at it is that the power walked in on its own. The power guided everything I had to do. And then after what was needed to be said or done was done or said, and I stopped. Nothing else further. The blinding light of the power took this little demonic shit, flicked him, made him leave. That wasn't my goal. I wasn't trying to do that. But I did mention in a previous video, I believe it was the one that was made private because the point had been made, that, I ain't going to go around calling people demons or nothing, but, the spirit moved, and this one particular individual was just like, and left. Think about it. Think about things like situation with the dog a couple weeks ago, the guessing of the names, all this other stuff. If you've been paying any attention to the comment discussions between the one person, sorry, there are two people who leave comments on my videos at this point, very infrequently. And one of them was asking me questions about the 36 thing. Well, I go about my thing. The blessings are out there for me to collect and redistribute. And as long as the natural order of things is not upset, I am in the places I need to be at the times I need to be there. And the things go the way they're supposed to. And when that got interfered with, and I said, hey, we got to make a change. The change was made, but the person kept being an issue. The power drove that person away. Made them just lose it and leave. I will reiterate. Kalem, Masag Segum, Kamo Shani, Kashetzliak. All thriving as that I succeed. In other words, others will thrive when I do well. And if not, La Savala, Kamo Shani Savalati, they shall suffer as I have suffered. So I've got people benefiting me. I am working to succeed, to overcome. And hopefully with their help, I will do so. And hopefully by their help, they will also succeed and prosper for having helped me. So that's what I got for this. Gonna convert it down to low res and upload it. And with any luck, there won't be any further need to discuss anything related to work situations unless another bullshit situation crops up. But god damn it, I really hope it doesn't anytime soon. I hope it stays clear. I hope it stays smooth sailing. And I hope that these other people are able to wrap their heads around, I was victimized by a manager and I was exceptionally cool about it. And when he lost his shit and left, why even call it a loss?